The last stand of humanity. The Vorox Empire's massive fleet darkened the skies above Mars, their crystalline ships refracting sunlight in deadly rainbow patterns across the red planet's surface. Yet Earth's defense forces didn't retreat. They couldn't. Humanity's homeworld was the last bastion of resistance in a galaxy that had fallen to these ruthless conquerors. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the EDF Hyperion, her weathered face illuminated by tactical displays showing the overwhelming odds they faced. The Vorox had conquered thousands of worlds, their crystalline technology far advanced beyond most species, but they had never encountered anything quite like humans before. "Status report on the gravity web," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension. Lieutenant Rodriguez glanced up from his station. "Charged and ready, Admiral. The Vorox still haven't detected the modifications we made to Jupiter's magnetic field. They have no idea what's coming." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Vorox had conquered so many worlds because their crystalline technology was virtually unstoppable by conventional means. But humans hadn't survived on their high-gravity Deathworld by being conventional. "All ships, maintain position," she broadcast to the fleet. "Let them come to us." The Vorox fleet advanced in their typical crystal-perfect formation, each ship positioned with mathematical precision. Their commanders had never lost a battle in recorded history. They had no reason to suspect this would be any different. The first wave of Vorox ships crossed the invisible threshold of Jupiter's orbit. Sarah counted down silently in her head. 3, 2, 1. Activate the gravity web. The massive engineering project humanity had secretly constructed around Jupiter suddenly powered up. The gas giant's immense magnetic field, augmented by thousands of gravity generators, created a cascading wave of distorted space-time. The effect on the Vorox ships was instantaneous and catastrophic. Their crystalline hulls, dependent on perfect atomic alignment, began to shatter under the fluctuating gravitational forces. Ships broke apart like glass sculptures in an earthquake, their deadly rainbow light extinguished in the void of space. "By the void," breathed Rodriguez. "It actually worked." "Of course it worked," Sarah replied, though she felt the same amazement. "We evolved on a world 3 times the gravity of most habitable planets. We understand gravity better than any species in the galaxy." The remaining Vorox ships attempted to retreat, but the gravity web had trapped them. Sarah watched as humanity's first major victory against the seemingly invincible empire unfolded before her eyes. Yet she knew this was just the beginning. "Send the message to all Earth forces," she ordered. "Operation Deathworld is now active. Let's show these Crystal Kings what happens when they pick a fight with the galaxy's most stubborn species." As the battle continued, news of humanity's successful defense spread across subspace channels. On countless conquered worlds, enslaved species gathered around forbidden communications devices, hope kindling in their hearts for the first time in generations. The Deathworlders had done the impossible. They had beaten the Vorox. In the coming days, secret messages would begin arriving from resistance movements across the galaxy. They had watched, they had learned, and now they wanted to know. Would humanity teach them how to fight back? Sarah Chen didn't know it yet, but her victory at Jupiter would be remembered as the moment that changed everything. The day humanity proved that being from a death world wasn't a disadvantage. It was the edge they needed to free the galaxy. Would you like me to continue with part 2? I'll maintain focus on humanity's unique capabilities while developing the story of how they helped lead a galactic resistance against the Vorox Empire. The Alliance forms. 2 weeks after the Battle of Jupiter, Sarah Chen found herself in a heavily fortified bunker beneath the Himalayas. Around the massive holographic table stood representatives from a dozen alien resistance movements, each having risked everything to reach Earth secretly. The Arctians, with their translucent bodies adapted to life in gas giants, floated in specially pressurized tanks. The silicon-based Macari, who had evolved in the crushing depths of ocean worlds, stood on mechanical walking platforms. Even a few Zenturi were present, their photosynthetic skin glowing faintly in the artificial light. "Show them," Sarah commanded, and the hologram flickered to life with footage from Jupiter. The aliens watched in stunned silence as the gravity web shattered the Vorox fleet. A Zentari elder, his leaf-like appendages trembling, spoke first. "In 3 centuries, no one has broken their crystal ships." "How?" Sarah gestured to Dr. James Okonjo, Earth's leading expert on xenophysics. He stepped forward, his dark eyes bright with enthusiasm. "The answer lies in our origins," James explained. "Earth's gravity is 3 times stronger than most inhabited worlds. To survive here, we developed dense bones, powerful muscles, and most importantly, an intuitive understanding of gravitational forces that most species never needed." He manipulated the hologram, showing the complex calculations behind the gravity web. "We didn't try to match the Vorox's technological advancement. Instead, we used our unique perspective to find their weakness." A Macari clicked their crystalline mandibles thoughtfully. "But surely the Vorox will adapt their shields." "They'll try," Sarah interrupted. "But that's another human advantage. We evolved on a world that constantly tried to kill us. Adaptation isn't just our strategy. It's written into our DNA." The alien representatives exchanged meaningful looks. The Arxian diplomat, their gaseous forms swirling with excitement, spoke through their translator. "We have technologies, resources, knowledge of Vorox movements. But we lack your perspective, your innovative thinking, and your gravity-adapted bodies," added the Zentari elder. "Tasks that exhaust our strongest would be simple for humans. Together." Sarah smiled. This was what she had hoped for. "Together, we can show the Vorox that technological superiority isn't everything. We can teach you our combat techniques, our guerrilla tactics. In return, your technologies combined with our understanding of gravity could create weapons they've never imagined," James finished. "Strategies they can't counter because they've never faced a species like us." The meeting continued long into the night as plans were made, alliances formed, and hopes spread. The resistance movements had been fighting separately, surviving through secrecy. Now, with humanity's unique capabilities added to their combined knowledge, they had a real chance at victory. As the aliens prepared to depart in their cloaked ships, the Zentari elder approached Sarah privately. "There is something else about humans that gives us hope," they said softly. "Your ability to unite different species, to inspire others to fight impossible odds. Perhaps that is your greatest strength." Sarah watched them leave, knowing that the real challenge was just beginning. The Vorox would come again, stronger this time. But they would face not just humanity, but a united galaxy ready to fight back with human innovation leading the way. In orbit above Earth, the first joint training exercises were already beginning. Human Marines were teaching alien resistance fighters to use their superior gravity tolerance as a weapon. Alien scientists were working with human engineers to adapt their technologies to exploit the Vorox's weaknesses. The next battle was coming. But this time, humanity wouldn't stand alone. Would you like me to continue with Part 3, focusing on the first major offensive of this new alliance? Operation Thunderstrike. The stolen Vorox transport ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Centauri system, its crystalline hull modified to mask the unusual cargo within. Inside the cargo hold, Commander Maya Patel lay perfectly still in her powered armor, surrounded by 200 of Earth's finest soldiers and their alien allies. Approaching Vorox checkpoint, the Arxian pilot's voice whispered through their neural comms. "Remember, their gravity sensors can't detect our dampening fields, but traditional scans will spot anything larger than a dust particle." Maya's enhanced muscles, already adapted to Earth's heavy gravity, barely strained against the crushing force of the transport's evasive maneuvers. Around her, she could hear the slight whimper of their Zentari allies in their specialized suits. Even with advanced technology, most species struggled with rapid gravitational changes. "This is why we're here," she subvocalized to her team. "We can handle what they can't. We make the impossible possible." The checkpoint loomed ahead, a massive crystalline structure that served as the Vorox's main manufacturing facility in this sector. After their defeat at Jupiter, the Vorox had adapted their ships with primitive gravity shielding, but they hadn't fought to protect their factories. They never expected anyone to attack them here. The transport's crystalline hull vibrated as it passed through the security scan. Maya held her breath. The Makari engineers had assured them their gravity-dampening technology would work, but theory and practice were different things. "Clear," the pilot announced. "Beginning docking sequence." Maya activated her neural link to the assault team. "Remember the plan. Teams Alpha through Delta target the Crystal Forge. Echo and Foxtrot secure the control center. The Zentari infiltration units will handle the data extraction. Most importantly, use their gravity against them." The transport shuddered as it locked into the docking clamps. Maya counted down in her head. 3, 2, 1. Now. The cargo hold exploded outward, but instead of the chaos the Vorox would expect, there was only silence. 200 soldiers, enhanced by Earth's gravity and equipped with alien tech, moved like ghosts through the crystalline corridors. The Vorox never saw them coming. Maya's team reached the main crystal forge first. The massive chamber stretched for kilometers, filled with perfectly aligned crystalline structures growing in zero gravity. The Vorox technicians, their crystalline bodies refracting light in complex patterns, didn't even look up as the human-led strike team entered. "Execute Operation Shatterpoint," Maya commanded. Synchronized gravity generators activated across the facility. The careful balance of forces the Vorox used to grow their crystal ships suddenly shifted. The effect was catastrophic. Crystal structures worth trillions of credits began to crack and shatter. Vorox technicians, their bodies partially crystalline themselves, found their own molecular structure destabilizing under the shifting gravitational forces. "Control center secured," Echo team reported. "Zentari hackers are extracting the data now." Maya watched as the factory's production capacity literally crumbled before her eyes. But this wasn't just about destruction. The stolen manufacturing data would allow the Alliance to understand exactly how the Vorox created their seemingly invincible ships, and how to break them. "All teams, prepare for Phase 2, she ordered. "Let's show them what else Deathworlders can do." The assault teams activated their gravity manipulators, devices that allowed them to locally control gravitational forces. In the low gravity of the station, humans with their superior strength and Earth-adapted bodies became living weapons. Maya watched her soldiers run along walls, leap impossible distances, and engage Vorox security forces in close combat where their crystalline weapons were useless. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could move like this, could fight like this. As the last crystal forge shattered and the data extraction completed, Maya felt a fierce pride. This wasn't just a victory for Earth. This was proof that the Alliance could work, that humanity's unique abilities combined with alien technology could achieve the impossible. "All teams, begin extraction," she commanded, "and send the message to all resistance cells in the sector." Operation Thunderstrike was a success. The Vorox aren't invincible anymore. As their transport ship slipped away from the ruined factory, Maya knew the real war was just beginning. But for the first time, she truly believed they could win. Would you like me to continue with Part 4, where we explore a new challenge that tests the Alliance's unity? The enemy within. The emergency meeting of the Alliance Council convened in the underwater base beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean. Maya Patel stood before the assembled representatives, her expression grim as she presented the evidence. "The Vorox shouldn't have known we were coming," she stated, bringing up a holographic display of the failed raid on their secondary production facility. 6 strike teams lost. The only explanation is that they were waiting for us. The chamber, designed to accommodate multiple species, hummed with tense energy. The Arxian representatives swirled agitatedly in their pressure tanks. The Makari's crystalline appendages clicked nervously. Admiral Chen, now Supreme Commander of Alliance forces, leaned forward in her seat. "We've suspected a security breach for weeks," Sarah confirmed. "But it's worse than that. Show them the pattern analysis, Maya." The hologram shifted, displaying a complex web of failed operations, supply line disruptions, and compromised safe houses. To most species, it looked like random data, but humans, evolved to spot predator patterns on their dangerous homeworld, saw something different. "The attacks aren't random," Maya explained. "They're too precise, too coordinated. The Voroks have infiltrators in our ranks, and they're not just gathering intelligence. They're actively sabotaging our operations." The chamber erupted in accusations and denials. Species began questioning each other's loyalty. The fragile alliance threatened to shatter under the weight of suspicion. "Enough." Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. "This is exactly what the Voroks want. Division. Distrust. We didn't come together to fall apart at the first sign of infiltration." Dr. James Okonjo stepped forward, his neural interface projecting additional data. "We've developed a way to detect the infiltrators. The Voroks can disguise their crystalline nature, but they can't hide their unique gravitational signature. Not from us." He gestured, and the hologram showed a new device, a combination of human gravity sensing technology and Macari crystal resonance scanners. "We can find them, but we need everyone's cooperation." Maya watched as understanding spread through the chamber. This was another test, not just of their security, but of their trust in each other. The alliance had formed around humanity's unique abilities, but it would only survive if they could maintain unity in the face of adversity. "I volunteer my delegation to be scanned first," the Zentari elder announced, their photosynthetic skin pulsing with determination. Others quickly followed suit. Over the next 48 hours, the scanning operation revealed 12 Voroks infiltrators hidden throughout the alliance structure. Each discovery could have caused more suspicion, more division. Instead, it strengthened their resolve. "The Voroks thought they could break us apart," Sarah addressed the council after the operation concluded. "Instead, they've made us stronger. Because they don't understand what makes humans different. What makes this alliance work." She paused, looking at each representative in turn. "We don't just survive on our death world. We learn. We adapt. We trust. And most importantly, we stand together." The alliance emerged from the crisis more unified than ever. New security protocols were implemented, combining the best aspects of each species' capabilities. Human intuition and pattern recognition became a crucial part of Alliance intelligence operations. As Maya prepared for their next offensive, she realized something profound. Humanity's greatest contribution to the Alliance wasn't their gravity-adapted bodies or their combat innovations. It was their ability to turn diversity into strength, to forge unity from chaos. The Voroks had failed to understand this. Their perfect crystalline empire was about to face something they had never encountered before, a truly united galaxy, led by the most adaptable species in known space. Would you like me to continue with the final part, where the Alliance launches their ultimate offensive against the Voroks Empire? Liberation. The combined fleet of the Alliance emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Voroks home system. 10,000 ships of various designs, human vessels with their gravity drives, Arxian gas phase cruisers, Macari deep space carriers, and Zentari solar wings, all united for one final push. On the bridge of the flagship Terran Hope, Admiral Sarah Chen surveyed the crystalline structures that had served as the heart of the Voroks Empire for millennia. Their capital world shimmered like a massive diamond, surrounded by orbital rings of pure crystal. "All fleet elements report ready," Maya announced from her tactical station. "The Voroks still haven't detected our gravity-masked approach." Sarah nodded, her expression resolute. "Send the signal. Operation Liberation begins now." The battle plan they developed was uniquely human in its audacity, combining the strengths of each Alliance species in ways the Voroks could never anticipate. As the fleet split into its component battle groups, Sarah remembered how far they'd come from that first desperate defense of Earth. First phase initiating. Dr. Okonjo reported from the science station. Makari resonance beams are targeting their orbital defenses. The Makari ships moved into position, their crystalline technology tuned to match the exact frequency of Vorok structures. The effect was devastating. Orbital platforms began to vibrate, their perfect molecular alignment disrupted at the quantum level. Archean strike groups, begin your run, Sarah commanded. The gas phase ships of their Archean allies accelerated to impossible speeds, their exotic matter forms passing directly through the weakened Vorok's defenses. They released clouds of precisely engineered particles that further corrupted the crystalline structures from within. Multiple Vorok's capital ships attempting to engage, Maya reported. They're adapting their shields, trying to compensate for the resonance attacks. Just as we predicted, Sarah smiled. Execute gravity strike. This was the moment they'd planned for. Human ships, their crews naturally adapted to handle extreme gravitational forces, activated their newest weapons. The gravity web technology that had won their first victory at Jupiter had evolved. Now it could target specific ships with pinpoint accuracy. Vorok's vessels began to crumple as localized gravity fields torn their crystal hulls apart. Their perfect formations broke as they tried to escape forces they'd never evolved to resist. We've breached their outer defenses, Maya announced. Zentari infiltration teams are away. Sarah watched as the plant-based Zentari ships, nearly invisible to Vorok sensors, slipped through the chaos toward the capital world. Their mission was crucial: to plant gravity resonance devices at key points across the crystalline planet. The Voroks are launching their reserve fleet, Maya reported. 5,000 ships, maybe more. Let them come, Sarah replied. All ships, implement pattern Omega. The Alliance fleet suddenly shifted, executing a battle strategy that would have been impossible for any single species. Human ships dove through intense gravity wells that would have crushed other crews. Archean vessels phased through solid matter to appear behind enemy lines. Makari cruisers coordinated their resonance beams to create cascading crystal failures. It was beautiful in its way, every species contributing its unique strengths, working together in ways the Voroks, for all their technological superiority, had never imagined possible. Centauri teams report devices planted, Maya announced, awaiting your command. Sarah took a deep breath. Send the final code. Let's end this. Across the Vorok's capital world, hundreds of gravity resonance devices activated simultaneously. The effect rippled through the crystalline planet like a shockwave. Structures that had stood for thousands of years began to crack. The perfect order of their crystal cities started to break down. They're surrendering, Maya said, almost disbelieving. Multiple Vorok's commands are broadcasting capitulation signals. The bridge crew erupted in cheers, but Sarah remained focused. Send the terms we agreed on. They can keep their world, but their empire ends today. The free species of the galaxy will govern themselves. As the surrender was formalized and liberation messages spread across the galaxy, Sarah reflected on how it had all begun. A single planet of Deathworlders, fighting against impossible odds, had evolved into something greater. They had shown the galaxy that true strength came not from technological superiority, but from unity, adaptation, and the willingness to stand together against any challenge. The age of the Crystal Empire was over. The age of alliance had begun.